It's a personalization of communication. It's a personalization of an incentive program. That personalization is worth it. We're able to engage higher. We're able to maybe dream a little bit bigger. We're able to look at how we reach our target audience more effectively. And all those things combined create an equation of engagement for good. Welcome everyone to the People First podcast. We are grateful that you are joining us and looking forward to our conversation today. Wellbeing programs, when thoughtfully designed, are more than just a perk. They're a strategic initiative that shape culture, boost engagement, and support employees' health journey across their physical, mental, and emotional, and even financial dimensions, just to name a few. Forward-thinking companies now are looking at well-being at not just as a cost, but as a competitive advantage, one that drives performance, retention, and long-term success by helping their people thrive. Today, we're excited to have Alan Diehl, Manager, Learning Development at Fike Corporation. Alan is joining us today from their global headquarters in Blue Springs, Missouri. Alan has been instrumental in the evolution of Fike's Wellbeing program and has helped drive engagement with unique program design. And Alan's got a saying where if life gives you lemons, deal with it and bring me margaritas. Is that close, Deal?
That's pretty good. I like that. I incorporated a life giving you lemons, make lemonade reference just the other day. And then I was told that it's powder form. Does it count? And I said, listen, it had to have some lemon derived from it or derived from some lemon. So let's go with it.
Fike has an awesome responsibility of what you guys produce in manufacturing and services. Maybe give the folks a little bit of background on how you make a difference in the world.
Well, Troy, thank you. We do believe that we have an awesome responsibility, and our mission each day is to protect the lives and the property of all of the organizations that we partner with. We've been around for 80 years. This is our 80th year this year. Now, we're founded as a metal company focused in on all sorts of metal products. The first product that we got a patent for was the triple topper, and it was a little can opener. I don't have one that I can show you right now, but it's a can opener that could open 3 different kinds of cans, right? And back in the day, that was a very useful tool. And that was the first thing that we got a patent for, and that's kind of launched the Fike metal products. It has evolved over time to do a lot of different things. We protect industrial solutions, so any kind of process where there's dust or explosion protection required or fire suppression necessary or pressure relief, anything that can keep a process from becoming catastrophic and dangerous to the people that are performing it or the equipment that is supporting it, we've got a solution for that. And, I mentioned this in our pre-talk, and this is something I wanted to make sure that I brought up again, but Fike was founded in 1945. So we're celebrating 80 years this year, but after 40 years of being in business in August and September of 86, we instituted our wellness program for the very first time. And so we realized at that time when we built our new corporate headquarters, these global headquarters that I'm sitting in today, that fitness was something that we needed to be a part of for our employees in their journey. So we developed a nice fitness center at the time, state of the art. Now, obviously now it would look very archaic, but it was a beautiful fitness center that we created for our employees. And we put together a wellness program under the guidance of Dr. E. Leslie Knight. And so this was a very meticulously run program, got launched in 86, and it has been around in some form or fashion ever since. So we're an industry trendsetter in a number of ways, but well-being for a manufacturing organization in the mid-'80s is probably unheard of.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And that's part of the reason why, listening to how you guys have evolved from having that leader initiate that program then, but then your journey today. Before we get to the overall journey of Fike, I kind of want to get to your journey. Your journey is interesting to me, and I also as manager of learning development and also engaging in the well-being programming and bringing that together, I want to dive into that a little bit. So maybe touch on a little bit about your role at Fike and then your path to getting involved in employee well-being and how that came to fruition.
Troy, I'm an accidental HR professional. We'll say it that way.
Most of us are, right?
My journey began as a coach of football and baseball in Tonganoxie, Kansas. I got started doing that during my internship in my senior year in college, getting my degree in kinesiology. School of Education, exercise science is my major. And I didn't know quite what I wanted to get into, but I knew I could get into coaching, and I knew some people and had some connections. And then that led me into personal training with doing some internship stuff in that world. And I thought, I like this and I like sports, and maybe I can mend these two together. And I started doing all sorts of things, got an opportunity because of my personal training practice in Olathe, Kansas, to be an adjunct professor at the Mid-American Nazarene University for a semester. And then that turned into an opportunity to be a fitness consultant for a wellness organization, which then led me down the path of being the wellness advisor for Fike when they hired that organization back in 2012 to run their wellness program. So starting then, I began running the Fike wellness program as a third-party consultant, managing their program as well as a few others. And the beauty that the Fike account afforded us at our organization at the time was they were really forward-thinking, as we've already discussed. And they allowed for us to tinker around and to toy around with different things, different ideas, getting a group of people together to dream big and see what we can do with it. And there was a bit of latitude and leeway provided, which was very nice. Fast forward just a bit, that organization I was with went out of business, and very abruptly so went out of business. And I gave Fike the opportunity to hire me full-time before I sought new employment. They jumped at the opportunity and said, we're hiring you. We don't know exactly for what and for how long, but we're definitely going to make sure we've got a spot for you. And we ultimately decided that myself being a Fike employee running the program from within was a better fit than being a third-party consultant running the program from outside. And so it was decided to make me a full-time employee, run the program from inside the walls of the organization. And that way I had institutional knowledge, and I had a little bit better foothold of the culture and the dynamics at play here. So that's a little bit of my story to how I got to where I'm at today. Then it evolved to, running wellness and running training and development because of the way that I brought learning to the well-being program. And so that has eventually evolved into transferring the wellness program to our fantastic benefits team, who's going to maintain and grow and improve this program in our partnership with Navigate from where it is today and where it was when I left it with them. And then I'm carrying that torch forward in learning and development to ensure that we always focus on the well-being of the employees, whether they're the frontline employees, the supervisors, the directors, the executives. Their physical, their mental, their emotional health is key to having a high-performing organization. So we know that, and we're always going to have that be baked into everything that we do to develop our people. And now I get the opportunity to do it from a learning and development space.
I love it. And I appreciate you providing that journey, because I think that, your experiences provide you perspective. And even the journey that you were on working for a smaller organization, fortunate, what happened to them, but earning the opportunity to be a part of Fike after that, and not even knowing what a job description is back in the day and being able to evolve that, frankly, is where, you being in the on the ground level and being in the trenches has probably helped bring a more rounded and fulfilled program to your culture than most, just based on the fact of your experiences. So I appreciate you sharing that. The one thing when I think about Fike, I think about you guys have to have like unmatched quality and reliability at your organization and what you guys do and what you provide. And you also have to rely on one another's abilities to get that done, because there's a zero opportunity for you to fail when it comes to what your job is. when you think about how you've embedded well-being in the everyday employee experience, how are you helping people thrive, and how are you doing that? Because it's definitely affecting your business in a positive manner in bringing those folks together, and the confidence that they have with one another, and the culture that you guys have had, because you're an 80-plus-year-old company. You're doing it pretty good. So maybe touch on that a little bit, Alan.
Yeah, and I'll maybe take a slightly tactful approach to this, because it is important for us to know that Fike is not the largest employer in the Kansas City metro area for some of the roles that we employ. And so there is opportunity for some of our people, our engineers, our machinists, some of our more common trades that we have, to go and seek gainful employment at other organizations that they may be able to provide more in their compensation and resources. So we know that we have to set ourselves apart with not only the mission, as we've talked about, of what we do to save lives each and every day and have uncompromising standards when it comes to the quality of our products. That's important. We need people that support and buy into that mission and want to live that each and every day. But we also have to focus on the culture being something that sets us apart. And once organizations can figure that out, and we are still in the process of doing so, they will understand that what we need is the people that love their job, that love the people that they perform their job with, and love the mission the organization is on. Because institutional knowledge here is so much more important than what people are learning in school that they can bring to the job. And so we know that, and we have to focus on our culture because of that, and ensure that once people get here, they want to stay here, so that institutional knowledge can be shared throughout and doesn't up and leave because somebody sees an opportunity to make a couple dollars more at another organization. So for our competitive advantage, we know we need to retain as the key piece of our strategy. The attraction is a number of different things, and we do use the wellness program as a major selling point for our recruitment efforts across the organization and across the community.
This kind of goes back to your kinesiology days. It's the connected tissue that kind of brings everyone together, kind of brings that back, that whole, the culture, the resilience, the business resilience, the team alignment, that connected tissue helps build culture. You guys have evolved your well-being program, and maybe just let's start now, like the state of your employee engagement right now and well-being. Maybe talk about that today, where that is with Fike, and how you're evolving that.
I can only go back so far historically, so we'll do a quick little dive. But we started early when we had first began the program, and it was focused in on completing of a fall screening, which was an on-site event, and it took place. It was a finger stick event where it was pretty quick, short, and easy. You got your results right then and there, and then you were able to complete the requirements of the well-being program by completing that on-site screening. Now, we still encourage people to do the fitness in the fitness center, and we gave them a small amount of incentive to engage in that screening each year. But there was no consistent program that was established for the constant engagement of the workforce and giving them well-being resources. So then when we started, we maybe overcorrected too much and trying to say, well, let's come up with a quarterly campaign structure where people need to complete certain requirements each quarter of the year in order to achieve their objectives. And through feedback and through some trial and error, we realized that was probably swinging too far in the opposite direction to try to keep engagement year round. And so we decided to settle in on a semi-annual calendar where we have 2 different semesters, and you don't have to necessarily complete a significant amount of requirements each one of them, but you do have certain things that must be done each of those semesters in order for you to achieve your outcomes. But the way that we really try to focus this program is to have as many different opportunities for engagement as possible. And that means we run monthly challenges for anything and everything that you could capture on one of your fitness tracking devices: your sleep, your water intake, your activity level, your steps, the time that you spend being mindful. There's ways for you to get credit for doing good, whatever ways you want to do good for yourself. And so that's the most important thing for us, is to ensure that no matter who you are and where you're starting on your fitness and your well-being journey, that there's something for you to either challenge you to be better or to give you something to motivate you to get started. And so we've at times ran into where we didn't have things that were quite challenging enough for people. And that's a good problem to have, I think, because that means you've got people that are really driving for more and wanting more challenge and more opportunity. And that's the problem that we'd prefer to have versus having things that are too difficult, too challenging, and not fit for purpose for the people that are maybe getting started.
Alan, I love the philosophy you guys are coming with. I love the evolution. I love the thoughtfulness that you guys are putting into it. As a manufacturing company, traditionally, or common thought would be there's a huge challenge around engaging participants in the manufacturing space. Can you talk a little bit about some of those challenges and maybe some of the things that we've worked with together to overcome them?
Those challenges are real, and the demographics are what they are, right? And those of us on this podcast today are men. We'll consider ourselves middle-aged men, right? And that's the population that we're targeting for the most part. I know that's just the reality of it. And we tend to be pretty difficult to communicate with. And we also tend to be pretty resistant to anybody telling us how to manage our health and well-being. Now, I'm generalizing. Not all of us are that way, but that's a common theme, right?
I think you're hitting the demographic that's in the room right now.
That's fair.
I got you. Go ahead.
But the reality is that that is common, right? And our workforce is 80% men, right? And of that 80%, a vast majority of them are in that middle age, 30 to 50, whatever you want to call that demographic tier there. And so encouraging them to engage in their health and wellness in a proactive manner is not always easy. And so there were times, and there are still times, where the approach that we take, and I have taken personally, was maybe too direct of an approach and too much of a challenge to the population and not so much of an opportunity for the population. And so the subtle shift of giving them resources and giving them things that they're interested in and that mean something to them is powerful. So we've done a wellness program that was pre-COVID, which tells you how long ago we started this. And so we brought the wellness program together for the population that was called Mindful Momentum. All right. And it was a mindfulness program. And it was a great program built by a very smart person, the director of psychology at Avila University. And Maria Hunt built that program from the very ground up. And we deployed it, and it was very well received. Unfortunately, it was very well received mostly by our female population. And while that is good, and it was fantastic that they could get that message and receive it well, we did have to repackage that whole entire program with a slightly different spin so that we could focus it on the demographic that we were targeting to increase that engagement. And so that next time that we brought that program back, we rebranded it and we called it Shifting Gears. And it was a way to kind of get people to think about how we can change the way that the gears work up here. And all we need is some basic tools. We need some basic preventive maintenance. And we need to ensure that we don't let the engine blow up and go for a full replacement. So we made as many analogies as we could to cars and tools and machinery and all the things that we could to kind of make it relatable to our workforce and our population. And that was a great benefit to them because it was the same information. It was the same end result of the people that went through the program. It was actually a better end result for that particular audience because they engaged more, because it related to them more effectively. So that's an example of something that we've done, but we've also converted some of our preventive screenings into an analogy for car maintenance, right? That's beyond just the mental side of stuff. But, changing your oil in your car is a lot like getting your blood pressure checked, right? So you got to make sure that you have those types of annual screenings to ensure that you don't continue operating at a suboptimal level. And there's different ways to connect with different audiences, but we found that one was a pretty impactful way to connect with ours.
Jay, there's a lot there I want to unpack, and it really focuses around personalization. It's the personalization of communication. It's a personalization of an incentive program around manufacturing. Plus, let's just focus on the men's health side of things there. And that personalization is worth it. We're able to engage higher. We're able to maybe dream a little bit bigger. We're able to look at how we reach our target audience more effectively. And all those things combined create an equation of engagement for good. And so maybe thinking about how that personalization, how can we continue to accent that when we go through designing that well-being program and that plan design to engage folks at that level.
You're right. And Alan's example is a perfect example of what we're talking about, is taking something that works in concept at a high level and making sure that it's aligned to your organization and your culture and your goals. And you've got to have a partner and a product and a technology suite that's going to support you in doing that. And then personalization is what makes it different to you, what makes it stand out, what makes it something that you're willing to engage in. And we need to know what motivates you, what drives you. That's one of the reasons we've been so passionate about building personalization in, is that it's not just about throwing a list of benefits at you. Because we know that that's good. People need awareness of it. But at the end of the day, that doesn't drive a ton of engagement. We need to make sure that you get presented the benefit that's right for you, the opportunity that's right for you, when you're ready to accept it. And in the future, I think we want to take it to the next level and understand at a really discrete level what motivates someone in not just from a healthcare standpoint, but from from a lifestyle standpoint, from a clinical standpoint. What motivates you? For example, Troy, you have a lovely daughter, and I'm sure that taking care of her is something that would motivate you, and living a healthier lifestyle so that long term she can have Pop around for a lot longer.
Karen, lately, like, is this like you guys teaming up against me here? This is how it works. But go ahead. Yeah, you're right on.
And I think where we want to go is a platform and a program that recognizes different motivations. You're motivated by family. I may be motivated by something else. Third person is motivated by something else. Everybody is unique. And I think personalization is about building that story for each person that still aligns with what the organization is trying to help you achieve. And we've seen over the past couple of years that the more personal the story you're telling, the more successful the program is going to be, the more engaging the program is going to be, because it touches you where it matters.
Yeah.
So excited about where we're going.
Yeah, no, I think that's well said. And Alan, I think that we would triangle crossfire this today in saying that when we think about the benefit of having a great culture, you're signaling to your folks that they matter, they care, and well-being can help, provide that shared experience if you do it right. And that leads to engagement. And when you think about on the engagement side, if we want active participation, you have to have personalization. To me, that boosts morale, that builds trust through consistent communication and support. And in the end, that's where we get healthier lives, we get better business metrics, we get better support, and we get better outcomes over time. And that is the deal. It is a long-term deal when it comes to health and well-being. But combining that culture engagement and helping people along that healthier journey, that's what we're here to do. And we think about Fike, and I go back to, you guys have to have unmatched quality, unmatched reliability in the job that you do, because if you don't, people could get hurt. And so when we think about that, you have to strive for that all employees feel secure, all employees feel, that they can trust their organization. And well-being is an opportunity to be innovative. It's also an opportunity to be fun. And that personalization can really connect that culture engagement and a healthier lives together. You guys have really focused on mental well-being and mindfulness. Maybe touch on that, because I think that's an important part. We talked about men, we talked about men's health a little bit, and how, we tuck our capes in our trousers and we, go off to work, we're all supermen, but like, we're not. And I think what you guys have done in the mindfulness area and mental well-being is something to be admired. So Alan, maybe touch on that a little bit, what you've done there at Fike.
Man, I already mentioned a little bit about the mindfulness program that we brought and brought back again with a slightly different iteration. So, I'm gonna use this opportunity to kind of touch on what was kind of a core element of what we believe is another thing that makes our program distinct, because we know that well-being, be it mental, physical, or whatever aspect of it, and we'll focus in on that mental because I'm going to address this question in a moment, but it is a collective effort. If each one of our employees is going on this journey independently, alone you can go fast, but together you can go far, right? And so we want to make sure that we gave everybody the opportunity. So one thing that sets apart our program is that we don't care whether you're enrolled in our healthcare plan and whether you are actually a member of our plan or not. You are given the same resources and the same incentives. Short the incentive of an insurance premium discount, you can't save money on a premium that you're not paying. Other than that, you get the same incentives in the program: paid time off, all the different options that are available through the catalog with our ADR provider there with Navigate. But we extend that same thing to all employee spouses, again, whether they're enrolled on our plan or not. And it's not because we're necessarily trying to impact with an ROI, some sort of health metric of their spouses and yada, yada, yada. Those things are all true to some minor extent. But the core of it is, in the pitch that I made when we did this shift a number of years ago, was without the support at home, without a collective effort between the employee and their spouse and their family, we're going to fail in this mission. They're not going to have the support and the shared mission necessary for them to be successful over a long period of time. So the biggest successes that we've seen and the things that it make me excited about what we've accomplished here at Fike is when a family is fundamentally impacted in a positive way because of the programming that was available to them. And that's not just the employee on the insurance plan. And so those are the things that really mean a lot to us. And we know that mental well-being and the ability to quit smoking and whatever it is that you're trying to do to improve your health and well-being, it takes more than just you doing it by yourself in order for you to be successful long-term. So I know that was a question specifically related to the mental well-being side of things, and it is important, it is critical, but that's tough to manage and it's tough to maintain alone.
It's a great point. If we want people to thrive, we need to engage family, friends, all those around them if we want them to thrive. And think about a workplace, you're surrounded by those folks 8-10 hours a day. And so making sure that all those things are interconnected is toward the mental well-being and or the thriving aspect of an individual. So, hey, Alan, one of the wonderful things I think that you guys have done too is you've been very intentional about the impact of where career well-being is part of your growth example, learning development. We firmly believe that here at Navigate as well. And I'm going to ask Jay to kind of touch on, we're launching some new things around career and another pillar within our holistic well-being, but maybe talk about how you have within manager training and how you've been intentional about bringing learning development into the well-being aspect of Fike's program.
Fundamentally, we firmly believe that it is the responsibility of the leader to create a healthy and wellness culture for that team. And so that, that touches on a lot of things like the actual physical health and safety stuff, right? Which is great. And I've partnered with our health and safety team in order to put on ergonomic clinics and go do workstation assessments in the past to ensure that we're providing the right resources for our people to do their job in a safe way, not only to avoid OSHA claims, right, which is a part of all of those things, but also to just do what's right for their body, in the hopes that it ages well, at least from the perspective of how we've asked them to use it at the organization. So, we've done that, but it's also important to note that when we talk about the career journey, we as I mentioned, we want to retain our people, right? So we make sure that our supervisors, our frontline managers, our directors, our executives, they prioritize psychological safety, emotional intelligence, being able to identify how they're making an impact on others with the way that they're leading. And we're actually incorporating it into our compliance training that we're doing this fall, where we help our population, all the way from the frontline employee, the newest employee, to our most senior executive, understand that the difference between their intent and their impact is critical for them to be able to understand, appreciate, and make adjustments to, so that we've got a culture of civility and respect in our workplace. Because that's key for us, is to ensure that. And so we weave well-being and emotional and mental well-being into nearly everything that we do, so to support that journey for the employees, from their entry to the organization to their eventual ascension to the executive team, which we have many examples of on our executive team right now, of people that started their career here on the front lines and have evolved all the way to the C-suite. So one of these days, I hope for that to be my journey as well. So Troy, anything that you can do to help with that, I'd appreciate it.
We certainly can. I got some ideas, brother. Hey, Jay, when Alan talks about that personalized incentives, we're always looking for ways to encourage ongoing engagement, and that could be through tiered or personalized incentives. When you think about that everyday employee experience and how we're embedding and encouraging ongoing engagement, maybe touch on how those personalized incentives or those tiered incentive plans are working that we've seen so far this year.
What we hear consistently with our groups and our participants is simply this: they want incentives that's meaningful to them. And that could be a wide variety of stuff. Premium differentials can be absolutely meaningful to someone, but also giving people options, giving people the option to donate as a charitable giving, to select things from a list or a rewards mall, or sort of a lifestyle account. All of those options are things that we hear, and it really matters based on the organization, based on the culture, but more than anything, based on the individual. So we're seeing lots of success with people that give options in their incentives, and the option includes not just what the incentive is, but the option is where I can earn, and picking and choosing. All of our HR professionals know people are going through the list of things in the program and going, okay, I can do that. I can do that. That's something I'm already doing. That's good. Maybe I can stretch it out and do that. They're planning out their programs, how many points they need, and where that gets them to the incentive. And so having different tiers of incentives gives someone something to strive for just beyond where they were comfortable with. And that's something we're always trying to achieve with our programs, is just take one more step. And that's kind of some of the stuff that's on our roadmap that I'm sure we'll talk about in future episodes, is taking that one more step. Alan, one of the things when we're talking about taking one more step is having someone to support you inside the organization. There's only so much we can do as HR professionals or as a digital platform. So much can come down to influencers in the organization, whether they be well-being committees or whether they be people who are just champions of the organization and their culture. What have you seen from a champion or an influencer standpoint? How have you utilized that?
Well, I want to address that And I will in just a moment, but I want to touch back on the incentives. And you guys do a good job of allowing for our program to have tiers, right? We have a bronze, a silver, a gold, a platinum tier, right? And then we have like the foundational tier where you're just earning your incentive on your insurance. And that's all you're earning by achieving that level of achievement. And then, earning all the way up to 2 additional days of PTO each calendar year is something that our employees love. We initially started doing things that are very local, and I was being as creative as I could to find incentives for people that would be inspiring for them to go and work to achieve, from Go Ape gift certificates so they could take their family to the rope climbing in Kansas City, to all kinds of different Planet Fitness memberships, Worlds of Fun, season passes. I was being as creative as I could to find things that motivated people. And then we ended up having to scale the program a little bit more broadly so that it could touch on lives that are outside of the Kansas City metro area. So we had to kind of pivot that, and your guys' platform does a good job of giving us still some flexibility, but also scaling those incentives as well.
Quality, reliability, flexibility. Love it. Sorry, had to put that in there, Jay.
That's great. And one way that we learned about all those different ways that would incentivize people was by finding I thought, at least I do believe still, a pretty unique blend of champions and ambassadors across the organization. And we really focused to ensure that we had some sort of representation from all the different pockets of our organization that we've got. But not only were we trying to find some of the most outspoken champions, we also wanted to find some outspoken critics and some skeptics. Because without bringing those people into the room and getting them to share their thoughts and to share their voice and to share their concerns and addressing those things, you're going to be fighting upstream, and you're going to be having this conflict in your organization where the champions are out there doing all the good and being the cheerleaders, which is phenomenal. You want them, they've got the energy, they've got the passion, tap into it. But if you're leaving all the skeptics out there to be skeptics without being incorporated into the conversation, they're going to be countering much of the effect of those champions that you have out there with whatever negativity they've got based on whatever misunderstanding or understanding that they have of the program and its intent and its purpose and the visibility of the information in the program to the leaders in the organization and all the different things that somebody could be questioning, could be challenging. And if you've got those people in the room and you can win those people over, you're not going to probably make them ever a cheerleader. That's not the intent.
But that sentiment that they can provide is wonderful, right? The sentiment, being able to get that information to help move to the next level, definitely something of value.
So if you can neutralize those people that were dissenters, that are actively trying to combat the program and the initiatives and the programs that are within it, and you can get them on board and they can be neutral, or they can be slightly encouraging to those that are maybe, dissenting in their own view of this program, it goes a real long way towards kind of, we'll say, penetration into that demographic of, I'm a skeptic. I think this is all Big Brother. This is all stuff that the company is doing for their own benefit and their own self-interest. And if you can get a few of those skeptics converted into believers of the mission, supporters of that mission, they're probably not going to be your cheerleaders that are driving the rah-rah, but they can at least support those cheerleaders and not negate them. So I think that's been a critical piece of our success, is to really engage that population and give them a seat at the table and allow them to feel that their voice is not only heard, but valued, appreciated, and acted on.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was good.
That was awesome. Alan, we close every podcast with the best day ever. So best day ever, give us a professional or a personal win that you've got going on.
Best day ever. I can go a number of different directions with this, but I kind of touched on it earlier, and it's those stories of impact that the program makes for somebody that fundamentally alters like their future trajectory. And when it brings in their family and their spouse and their loved ones and takes them along that journey, those stories and then being able to share those stories are some of the most fun days I've had in my role in performing an interview similar to this, actually, where it's effectively a podcast, and I've got some pre-recorded or pre-identified questions, and we kind of go through tell us your story. And that person, not only do they get to share their story and talk about how the wellness program provided the opportunities for that story to happen, but they get to inspire their colleagues who really can relate to their plight, that they come in every day and do the same work. They've got the same schedule and the same shifts. They've got the similar pay that they're being paid. So they don't have any of the kind of the built-in reasons why they can't achieve that same objective and outcome. It's all relatable to our employees, and sharing that story and being able to be a part of their journey, there's nothing more powerful for me. And so my best day ever is being able to live vicariously through someone else who's now living their best day ever each and every day because of the results of the program that was afforded to them.
Well said.
It's well said, man. You're doing a masterful job over there too, my friend. Jay, what do you got, brother?
I just got back from vacation. It's the middle of summer as we're recording this. My best day ever is sunscreen. I am a 50 SPF guy. If I go outside without sunscreen and even if it's not sunny out, 30 minutes, I'm pink. So 50 all day long. And I was able to make it through a, sunny Southern California week without coming back and feeling miserable. So best day sunscreen.
Okay, take it. My best day ever has to also go and navigate. We spend a disproportionate amount of time telling folks that you take care of yourself, self-care, go on vacation, use your time, re-energize, recharge. And I had the opportunity to do that this past week with family and friends, and spent a lot of time with one of my favorite people, my wife and my daughter and my brothers, and it was just wonderful. It was just good energy. It was great fun, and got to also spend some time with a close friend in the industry who introduced my wife and I, Franklin, celebrate our 10th wedding anniversary. And so it was great. It was a great time, recharge. I still have yet to turn on my out of office in 25 years. And so I kept it rolling, but just, woke up at 4:30 and worked a little bit, and then, hit the beach. So it was fun. It was a great time. So, well, hey, Alan, we're grateful for you. We're grateful for the time and the moments spent, and what you do every day. Thank you for joining us on the People First podcast. And to all those that are listening, thank you for all that you do every single day for others. Your job matters. You have an awesome responsibility, and we're grateful for you and all the energy that you put toward others. Thank you. Continue to like and subscribe to our podcast. Give us ideas. We do listen, and we appreciate you all, and have a wonderful rest of the week. And thanks for all you do. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.